Alright, for the boys back home, this is your boy Benvolio, back with another Lizardmen army, slightly modified build. This time I decided to bring along a skink chief instead of my two skirmishers. Let's take a look at his stats. So I opted to get rid of the two skirmishers, the skink skirmish groups that I'd had in a similar build, and opted to put a skink chief to kind of replace them. He's a hero unit, so he is a single unit, but he's giving positive buffs in terms of leadership, helping morale hold out a little longer, and I could equip him with some interesting items, including the Drum of Zahutek. I thought it was a decent investment instead of the skirmishers. So the drum he's got, it's an equipped item, you pay a little extra for it in terms of your gold allotment. Drum of Zahutek giving the his comrades around him, excuse me, let me see if I can just get that properly. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, augment area, +4 leadership, +4 charge bonus, and +6 speed. So that's a buff he's giving in an area. He's also got poison attacks. I thought he was armor piercing, but I guess not. But he still has pretty solid missile damage, even though he's got basically a clarinet, a war clarinet there. Look at that thing. It's a war flute. He's yeah, he's blowgun. He's blowgunning it, but he was actually kind of an MVP here. Spoiler, I did lose again. Oh well, I've been on a real losing streak. Just bad management of units, especially the salamanders. But he really he held out quite nicely until the end, and I was pretty impressed with him, with his performance. And I'm glad I went with the skink chief instead of the skirmishers. So yeah, so that's that unit in my army. The rest of my build, let's take a quick look at the rest of it. I got the salamanders again. You can see right here with their arcing missile fire, and I think they could be a lot more useful. The problem I have with them is that they run away. They run into something nasty, some nasty cavalry, yeah, and they run away from that cavalry, and then they rout and they run to the back of the field, and then I lose track of them. I get so focused on the behind the enemy's lines or the main line that I forget they've ran off, and I forget to bring them back in. If I just cycled these guys back in more, I think this game would have gone very much differently. There's a couple opportunities where they were just sitting there doing nothing when they could have been doing some work against some of his units. But yeah, they routed and I forgot about them. Terrible choice. But yeah, they're back. It's the salamanders. Got Krokgar again on Grimlock, his Carnosaur. That's the name of his Carnosaur. Yeah, he's ready to go. He's got the Hand of the Gods with him, which is kind of like an awesome item that kind of just has this bound spell. You can use it twice. He's got 2 charges on it. Just does damage to targeted units. I think I used it on his Lord and some of his elite units at one point. But again, Krokgar he's a high value target, so if they're gonna get him, they get him pretty early, and I didn't do enough. I didn't protect him. I wasn't a good I wasn't a good environmental steward. Oh well, the last of his species, he's gone. Crap. But yeah, then I've got 3 groups of red-crested skinks. Again, armor piercing, frenzy, poison attacks, aquatic. I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe I should just go with Sauruses because they seem to do decent amount of damage, but they seem squishy. Like they get chopped through pretty quickly. Like I think Sauruses might last longer, so it might be worth just investing in Sauruses instead of red-crested skinks. But they're new and hot, so everybody likes to use them. And I mean, I just like their gold price, like for what they are. They're slightly better infantry for cheaper price than Saurus, so you can field more of them. But I don't know. But I've also got a group of Temple Guard, again the elite troops of the Lizardmen with their awesome Aztec-looking weapons and gear. Yeah, and they do all right. They're gonna chew up any lower tier infantry that the Empire is gonna throw at us, and it is the Empire I'm against. So yeah, I brought them in the front line, although they're unfortunately immediately in range of his cannon. Yes, he's got a cannon. So that's not so good, but yeah, that's my main line. And then on the flanks, I have my usual spear game. Saurus spears with shields, charge defense against large foes. So monsters, they're gonna do pretty good against. I don't know if cavalry counts as large, but I guess so. They're anti-large, so against his lord on a griffin or anything like that, they're going to be useful against cavalry, hopefully. So they're on the wings there. My salamanders in the back, already covered them. And then Krokgar, so now we just got the flanks left to talk about. Again, maybe I should rethink these guys, but the Fire Leech Bolas, anti-infantry vanguard deployment, I don't think I'm using these right. I don't think I'm using these guys right either. I just got to find better targets for them. I should really just keep them on infantry targets and appropriate infantry targets. But yeah, I brought them back. 1 group on each flank, also with the Cold One Spear Riders again. The armored and shielded, armor piercing, anti-large, so good stats. good stats for cavalry, and you know, filling the basic cavalry need. Again, with the Lizardmen, it seems to be more of an infantry game. Just brute force is the main name of the game, but it's also good to have a few flanking tricks up your sleeve. Um, yeah, so and it's same on either side. Another group of pterodons over here, and another group of cold one spear riders hiding in the shrubbery. In the shrubbery. Yes. They're awesome dromaeosaurid. I'm not gonna say velociraptor because the velociraptors are much smaller. Those are not velociraptors. If anybody tells you those are not, smack them because velociraptors were tiny. Jurassic Park has done damage to science with that velociraptor junk. I did a friggin' speech on it when I was in school about like how silly it was that they called them velociraptors when they were much too big. More like Deinonychus, but again, Deinonychus just doesn't sound sexy, does it? So anyway, dinosaurs. I always tend to rant. Steam tank. So if I'm looking at the Empire's army now, of course. He's brought a steam tank. Armored, armor-piercing, causes terror, and unbreakable. So you have to kill this thing. It's never gonna rout. It's a machine. It's like it's a machine. Yeah, literally. Frick. Of course. So it's unbreakable. So this thing is I don't see them enough. I'm not an adept at dealing with them enough, and I gotta find units that really work. So I figure armor piercing, because it's armored, it's gonna be good. So I'm gonna try and bring as much armor piercing to bear on it as I can. I missed a couple opportunities to bring the cold one spear riders down on it. They would have probably been my best choice if I could hold it in place and get the salamanders firing on that. That would have been the ideal thing. But you know, hindsight's 20/20 with all these battles. That's the way it is. But there's the steam tank terror-causing beast with a cow catcher that catches your troops and splatters them everywhere. Nasty, because it'll do a little charge too. It has a little melee charge and just backs up and like charges you. Anyway, and he's got halberdiers, whatever. Armor piercing, anti-large, charge, defense against all. So they're gonna be not ones to charge into. Don't want to charge my cavalry into that. So not a good idea. Or get a rear charge at least. So he's got 3 groups of those. They're pretty heroes of the Empire. Oh man, look at the chops on that guy. I want those chops. Let me see your chops. Let me see your chops. Oh, the hat. Oh my God. Maybe not the pants. But I don't know. If I'm really feeling groovy. I want a crazy party. Anyway. Moving on. Swordsman. Shielded. Really basic Empire infantry. Put a couple chevrons in these guys. Give them slightly better stats. But my Temple Guard would just eat these guys up. The red-crested skinks probably too. Although the red-crested skinks being armor-piercing, not ideal. So maybe I really should just go with less armor-piercing in my main line and more worry about armor-piercing on the flanks. Seems to be the lesson because the armor-piercing's wasted on these guys and a lot of red-crested skinks got tied up with them. So it's, so yeah, that might be something to make you think there. Yeah, and this halberdiers again. In the back, he's got a cannon of renown, hammer of the witches. That's what Alex is rocking. This guy's name is Alex, by the way. That's just his like player name. Nothing special. Just I'm Alex. Alex. So yeah, hammer of the witches. Look at that nice decal. They got like thingies on the side of it, griffins on the side of it, and so it's gonna be opening up. What's that? Swordsman. What are you on Swordsman for? I'm looking at the hammer of the witches. Hammer of the Witches, armor-piercing, missile, anti-large, and good range. So he's going to be able to snipe out Krokgar. If he can get a line on Krokgar, that's going to be ideal. Or anything big I've got. He's got a Celestial Wizard, okay, casting some powerful offensive and buff spells. Yeah, look at he's got the funky staff and the eye things. I don't know. There he is. I should try rocking spellcasters more. Maybe that's the thing. Like if you use spellcasters well, the problem is I'm not as good at the micro required, I think, to really use them effectively. I'm much more of a macro battle, and I seem to be more focused on his back line and getting through to his back line, and I let other things get away. But maybe using a spellcaster would be a better way to up my game. Karl Franz, so he's not a flying monster. He's a man riding a flying monster, so that's technically, but he counts as one. So he's armored, armor-piercing, causes terror, and a duelist, so he's going to do good work one-on-one against my lord. With his griffin to match Grimlock, my Carnosaur, so gonna have a monster mash a little later. And he's got Galmaraz, of course, the magical hammer of smiting. Yes, so Karl Franz, Emperor of Mankind. Alright, and so that's the steam tank. He's got a couple more units. He's got let's take a look at these guys. These guys are, they do some work. The Royal Altdark Griffites. It's gonna be bad news for Krokkar if they can corner him. They're armored, armor piercing, and they cause terror as well, so they're going to run off basically anything. And my cavalry's not going to be matching up to them. The best thing I could do, I think, is just hold them in place with the Cold One Spear Riders, then fire in with the Salamanders if I can catch them and get them stuck. But yeah, so they're pretty devastating. They're riding half Griffin, half Lion dudes with they got wicked helmets with eagles on them and skulls on their back haunches. Yeah, pretty badass. And then he's got over here another regiment of renown, Sterling's Revenge. So wait, yeah, Royal Archer Griffith's regiment around. So 3 regiments around he's brought. He's got the Sterling's Revenge, armor-piercing missiles, decent melee combatants, and vanguard deployment. So they're able to shoot and also chop you with their sabers. So they're actually pretty decent against my my spears, my Saurus spears, being a regiment of renown. So yeah, and that's his army as far as I can tell. Maybe a little smaller than mine. I've got a few more, but by the end you'll see we absolutely obliterate each other. So let's turn the info off and let's get this game rolling. Let's see what happens. So I think immediately he's able to get some shots off with the Hammer of the Witches. Yeah, there's some shots firing. Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! And he's shooting at my Temple Guard. I immediately pull them back. Gonna let his infantry advance a little before giving some space to get around for my cavalry on the side. So pulling back, want him to advance and put a little space between his artillery and his main line, so I get that kind of gap to get in with my cavalry. That was the idea, I'm pretty sure. And once they've advanced, I'm going to charge again. So they're advancing, pulling them back. Saurus spears. Am I moving up? The Pterodon riders on the flank. Yeah, creeping up, creeping up. Don't want to give the game away though. That's the trick. Grimlock's turned around, facing that way. I'm advancing the Temple Guard now. I'm advancing. Far enough. Okay, I'm not gonna wait. Let's get into that, because I mean, with my superior infantry, I don't want to sit back and take shots from the cannon. I want to get that engagement as soon as possible to make the most of my units. They want to be in the fighting as long as possible when they're superior, obviously, to what you got. And so the Sterling's Revenge, and so I guess I was focused somewhere else. The Cold One Spear Riders. And the Pterodon Riders want to chase down the Sterling's Revenge, but the Royal Outdoor Griffites are coming into cover, and that's not good. I'm not going to be paying attention, and he's going to get a nice charge into my Cold One Spear Riders. So the Dromaeosaurs and the Griffites, and they've collided. Yeah, okay, so ow, that's not going to be good. Get out, get out, get out, get out. Firing the Fire Leech bullets at Sterling's Revenge. Boosh! But their armor-piercing shot is... I don't know if they're armored. My Pterodons are armored. Probably not, but still, it's not going to be one... I'm not going to want to stick around. That's not going to go my way. This cavalry's just superior, and so I don't want him to have that missile support. Okay, and the main lines have joined over here. We've got the Pterodon Riders firing at the Cannon of the Witches. I want to shut that down. Salamanders firing into the infantry. Probably would have been better to have them firing at the tank, honestly, while I had that opportunity, while that gap open, because of their armor-piercing missiles would have been much more useful, but they're kind of wasted on the swords, but I just want to cause as much havoc and get through his line. Would have been a great opportunity to have those shields on the Celestial Wizard, oh well, but I wanted to get around him and kind of bring down his halberdiers a little easier. The Temple Guard have engaged them, as well as some red-crested skinks. The red-crested skinks are winning against the swords, but not as cost-effective as I want to be. In fact, this group of swords with one chevron is, squishing these up. I don't know if they're getting support from somewhere, but yeah, no, I don't know. I might have to change up the red-crested skinks, just go with Sauruses, because Sauruses would just be able to chunk through that, power through that, but the skinks being slightly less effective. However, the spears are trading fairly well with the halberdiers over here, but they're going to get support from Sterling's Revenge. The Altar Griffites wear my cavalry on this side. The Fire Leech Bolas firing in on the halberdiers. That's good, and kind of moving around, trying to be useful. Not ideal. Grimlock has engaged Karl, Franz, Krokkar. Boom! I think he got a Hand of the Gods off on Karl Franz. Probably missed that. Just popping a Swift Assist just to explode in his face, just for fun. Just to try and get as much damage in on Franz as I can. I think I got the Skink Chief, sorry, not Red Crest, the Skink Chief. Is he firing in? Are you firing anywhere? Are you doing anything? What are you... There, now he's firing. Now he's using his blowgun against Karl Franz. That's good. So with the poison attacks, debuffing Franz, Grimlock, that's definitely going Krokgar's way. But the Royal Archdog Griffites are going to come in, and they're just going to be bad news. And what's sitting back here? What had routed? What had routed? Look, they'd routed, and I'm just parked back here, not doing anything as their frickin' lord gets surrounded and chunked down. Even as I make his troops in the mainline buff, he's going after my lord. Much better choice. Still trying to snipe the Griffites with the blowgun, but that's not going to be doing much. Bringing in cavalry and infantry to try to save my lord here. Caught it just in time. Salamanders still sitting uselessly. Could have been racking up damage. Oh well. Chasing off these halberdiers over here with the pterodons. The spears, though, and the Sterling's Revenge. So now these spears are going to begin a chase of Sterling's Revenge. It's going to take a long time. It would have been disastrous if Sterling's Revenge can fire while moving. I'm not sure if they can. I think they can. Should have kept those Pterodon riders on the Sterling's Revenge. But okay, so the Red Crest is chasing these guys off. Not effective. The Celestial Wizard has taken some damage from something. Maybe the Skinks got on him. What's we got here? Halberdiers. Just about finished off. Ooh, Celestial Wizard casting a spell, but I'm diving the out of ammunition Pterodon riders, or maybe not out of ammunition, but I'm just going to get them into melee with the Celestial Wizard, just kind of goon squad him, stop him from casting spells. Red Crested Sinks over here, still chasing off Sterling's Revenge with this group of Fire Leech Bolas and the Spears, so he's just dragging them away. Salamanders still being useless. Red Crested Skinks firing against Karl Franz, but Karl Franz, Grimlock is dead, of course, he got finished. That was it, there he is. Sad, sad. And Krokgar is dead too. I guess Grimlock's just by now. Karl Franz just eating up some Red Crested Skinks, but they're holding him in place, so I can fire in with my little blowgun, slowly poison him to death. He's about to die. Like, and I'm saying like, okay, if he's gonna die, you're gonna die too. Royal Archdog Griffites just tooling the Cold One Spear Riders. Salamanders run off again, still useless. Could have been doing so much more work. Red Crested Skinks about to get murked by these Royal Archdog Altdorf Griffites. Oh my god, that's hard to say. Ah, no! But I'm bringing them in. Whatever good they can do. I don't know. Just hold them in place for some more blowgun shots, however useful they are. Karl Franz about to die, but I'm firing at the Altdorf Griffites because they're a priority right now. I don't want them after my Skink Chief because they'll tool him. But a couple more shots on Karl Franz would be ideal. I could have brought in those Pterodon Riders to just murk Karl Franz. Would have been a great idea to finish him off. Temple Guard and Spears have closed with the tank, and it's just going to be, yeah, plowing them. Let's... yeah, charge. Like a toddler with a car. Just charging the Pterodon Riders against Karl Franz's backside. Finally did the right thing there. Would have been better while he was in the air because they're going to get hit by those Royal Archdog Griffites. Not a good thing. You don't want to be a Pterodon Rider in the face of those things. The ground is their land to go to Pound Town on. But they're chasing off the Pterodon Riders. They're chasing off something, maybe trying to go back after his tank. And I think I'm going to get an opportunity to snipe. Nope. He's going after these red-crested skinks, and I'm still sniping at the Royal Archdorf Griffites. The Pterodons are coming in, trying to rain as much pain on the tank as I can. But those Royal Archdorf Griffites are probably going to see everything off there. Still enough strength. Oh, if only I'd put some more Salamander work into them. Switch the targets. But as you can see, it's getting pretty close anyway. Wasn't a lot of mistakes, but it's still a pretty close game. It's still a pretty exciting game. Salamanders! Nope. Red-crested skinks. Where are the Salamanders? Where the frick are they? Where? There they are. Just, oh, gosh. My god. And the Sterling's Revenge being chased by the Spear Rider, Sword Spears in a fight here. Sabers versus Spears. They're trying to, like, he's got them, like, up against the edge of the map. Like, they haven't, yeah, and now they're, so he's kind of forgot to micromanage these guys, too. And the Sword Spears, even though it's a Regiment of Renown, should be able to do decent work on them. Anyway, let's get back to the main battle that's going on over there. Got the Salamanders finally moving, bringing them back in here. They're charging up. Over here, group has the steam tanks driven off, the infantry, the Temple Guard, and the Spears. They rampaged and charged against it, but nope. He's able to cannon them down again a bit. Probably gonna be able to fire a few shots. Let's see if we can watch a shot or two. You shoot. Boom. Ooh, steam shot. Ow, nasty. Ow, 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 ow. So, gonna try and pull those back. Want to get the Salamanders on them. So the Salamanders are hopefully gonna get some shots on the Altdorf Griffites if the Red Crested Skinks can hold them in place enough. Ooh, yeah, see, that's finally getting the right shots off. Finally targeting that unit. Gotta be more on it with my salamander game. Can I get off one more volley before they meet? Come on, one more volley. Yeah, one more volley. Yeah. Oh, they're wavering. Come on, no, but nope. But still, Skink Chief just taking pot shots the whole time. As they're distracted with those units, I'm just slowly able to just... There, he got one. He frickin' blowgunned one down. Nice shooting, Rex. He's still shooting. Oh, but the cannon coming off from the steam tank shooting at the salamanders. I got a group of red-crested skinks somewhere. They rallying again. There they are. But gotta move that Skink Chief. Don't want him there. So I'm trying to bring everything back to give just a chance. Regroup. Going back out of range of this cannon, I hope, of that steam tank, and trying to regroup. The red-chested skinks are chasing them off. Hilarious. Ooh, halberdiers. So that would have been a great opportunity to bring these red-crested skink chiefs in, but I'm bringing them back. Want to regroup. I should have brought everything back, just kind of relied on numbers. Sterling's Revenge and my spears still fighting it out. Oh no, they killed my spears! They're running off. They broke them. They won. Well, that's what you get for bringing a regiment around. They won with those sabers against the spear lizards. So, one final desperate regroup. That steam tank, if I can just gang up on it and finish it off. He's got no lord, and like I think everything else I can deal with. Those halberdiers aren't going to be a problem for my temple guard, even at their diminished numbers, and my skink chief. It's not going to be a problem if I can just bring down that tank. So let's see, how am I going to try and do this? I'm going to try and get those salamanders firing on the tank, as many volleys as I can. Wavering, I'm going to have to cast Cold-Blooded, which is going to stop rampage, buff leadership for these troops as much as possible. Keep them in the fight, but I'm going to charge over this hill, and this is the last-ditch attempt. This is the last samurai charge. My skink chief, my very depleted Saurus spears, my temple guards, and my salamanders. Last-ditch attempt, and versus the tank. Versus a freaking tank. He's firing. Ow! Who's he going after? He's going after the salamanders already, I think. Not good, not good. Damage sustained. Oh, they're rampaging, but I'm going to use... Yes, cold-blooded. Yeah, stop the rampage. And I'm buffing their leadership. Okay, and so I'm going to see if I can get a few volleys. He's still firing, charging on the tank. What's going to happen? Well, I already kind of ruined it for you guys. But anyway, so if I could just get a couple more volleys, just come on, volley. Yes, one volley. Oh, that should have been doing more damage. Come on, guy. Come on. And the blowgun. Patink. Oh, why are you not taking more damage? Why? I feel like that should be doing so much more. Oh, if I only had a full regiment of them. But this is the last ditch. Can I even bring them into contact? Can I bring the spears in? The temple guard in? Has he got anything left? Halberdiers and Sterling's Revenge over here. Red-crested skinks charging against the halberdiers. But I think I pulled them back. It was a dumb move. It would have been nice to see that, like, final battle. Oh, maybe I will. No, okay, that was a different occasion. Yeah! Red-crested skinks, get into him! That's good. Come on. Oh, desperate. Oh, but he's routed them off because Sterling's Revenge are coming in, and they're going to rout. But what's going on? Oh, no, my infantry is routed. Still, the skink chief goes on. I'm like, come back, guys, come back. Patink. Imagine turn around and shoot a blowgun at him, and that's valiant defeat. So that was Alex playing as the Empire, defeating me with his awesome steam tank army. All right, let's take a look at the kill count. All right, so... Krokar got 3 kills. That's sad. He did do work on Karl Franz, but so that's not reflected. But again, I just didn't. If I gotta keep working on this army and keeping Krokar alive longer. Maybe that means taking him off a Carnosaur onto something smaller, less big of a target. But then again, Grimlock is a tank. It's really good against infantry if I can bring him to bear on the right units. But he just had that the Altdor Griffites on him. If I had the Salamanders to support, would have been ideal, but alas, I forgot about them. So that might have gone much differently if I brought the salamanders to bear more effectively. But my red-crested skinks, despite being a bit squishy, one group got 154 kills, which is pretty great. 103 kills, 10 kills, 105, 35. So the Saurus Spear is pretty good. 105, 35, 89 on the Temple Guard. All right, decent. 18 on the salamanders. Not good. I was wasting them on those swords. Should have been trying to pound on that siege tank while I had the chance. Cold Run Spear Rider, 61 kills to this group, but this group was not effective at all. I think they're the group that met up with the Altdorf Griffites and got finished off by them. He made sure to put the nail in that coffin. The Pterodon Fire Reach Bull is pretty good. They were useful for ganging up on that Celestial Wizard, but I could have, I don't know, maybe I should try Ripper Dactyls instead, because they're just melee pterodactyl units. But I like the Skink Chief. I think the Skink Chief is a better choice than two groups of skirmishers. If you're going to go between two groups of skirmishers and a Skink Chief, I'd like the Skink Chief as a single model just for the leadership buff with that drum. I think it was fairly useful, and he had the fullest health. He lasted the longest, so that was a good choice making that switch. But let's take a quick look at his army. Who did the most work for him? He got 123 kills with a tank, so he didn't actually kill as many as my one group of red-crested skinks with any one group. But the tank got 123, the Griffites got 121, the cannon 21. I was probably too focused on the cannon, firing at it with a Fire Leech Bolas, but yeah, 69 on Sterling's Revenge, 45 on the Celestial Wizard, 41 on Karl Franz. So a couple of those spells he cast were pretty effective. Probably buffing his troops the whole time too. Couldn't keep track of all that though. 62, 42 on the Swordsman, 46. So yeah, like, we basically obliterated each other, but I think he kind of caused, he won by causing more terror, because I think if you tally all the numbers, I think I killed more of his units, but his steam tank, right, caused enough terror, and the Griffites caused enough terror, and routed my troops off enough that I think I have more of a higher unit count. Yeah, let's take a look. I lost 645. He lost 707, so I killed slightly more of his troops than he did of mine, and I have more troops remaining. But the steam tank, just having that terror-causing stats and being unbreakable, really held it together for him. So, well played, Mr. Alex. All right, as always, this is for the boys back home. Keep it real.